Something you need?
Yes, give me some more of those gifts. Give them to me now.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Let's sell some stuff first. The boots be gone. Robe's gone. We'll keep the army cap. We need to get... Stand some better stuff though. Spell Ward. 5 willpower. But that cunning. That cunning. I'll keep the Spell Ward with somebody else. Parval and Willstone. Dalish Hunter's Belt. Ember. I like doing fire damage. Grandmaster Frost. Come on, give me the fire. Nothing really. I guess we'll go with, is there a Grandmaster Lightning rune? There is, good. I'll go Lightning, fine. Give me something additional in regards to damage. Give me more thoughtful gifts. Give me all the thoughtful gifts. Sell. I just really hope by giving all these gifts it doesn't make me go past any kind of dialogue that I would normally get through speech.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Oh, thank you.
Interesting, 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 interesting.
Good, and just keep you that way.
Why, thank you so much.
Alright, you're good.
Unexpected. Thank you. You have my thanks.
Now, when I talk to him, I inadvertently piss him off, as I know I will for some people. Please let that be a good... Actually, no, what am I doing? I don't even give you a stick. Alright, it's enchantment time.
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
There you have it.
I want to see some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Yes, enchantment. And there we go. Yep, everybody's inspired. Okay, I get it. Everybody's awesome. Holy crap. Are we done? Okay, we're done.
I await your command.
Okay, good. We can still talk. I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
But it's just a legend, right?
So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
Can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed.
Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
And what do other animals think of you when you're changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
I've never heard of magic like that before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
That's good. Such traditions need to be preserved.
I am surprised you think so. Still, 'tis a pleasant thing to hear.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
I think your abilities sound quite useful.
Oh, you're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
Nope, more talk.
I await your command.
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
Did you grow up in the Corky Wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
I'm curious. What's wrong with that?
Any number of cats could inform you of the answer to that question, but have it your way. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time, I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained unnoticed?
For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Touching like a handshake?
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, I'm glad it worked out this way, at least.
Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
If only. We're not done talking. I'm
I
sorry.
await your command.
I like this stuff. The whole talky talk and the dialogue and story. I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
It's also a good source of lore and backstory for these people. Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
You are very cute to ask so many questions.
And you were cute when you were evasive.
Really? Perhaps we should be wrapped in ribbons and adorned with flowers. So cute are we, too. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
Feel sorry for the Templars.
They came with as much swagger and arrogance as they did self-righteousness. Pity them if you wish, for they held none for us. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Flemeth used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
What exactly is an apostate?
You do not know? The Zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
Meaning what? We'll fight to the end?
I will note that we only ever defended ourselves. But if they wish to come for us, certainly. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
I don't think that conversation went too well. Yep, no.
I await your command. So, full of questions, are you?
Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
An old woman.
Oh, she is certainly old. Have no mistake of that. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful. A fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Just how long ago is this?
Many centuries, before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the Dreadlord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord, who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
He sold his wife to another man?
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
So she truly loved Osen then?
That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Which, she never invaded, or he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
An interesting story. Thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
My mother died. Recently, in fact.
Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
Okay.
I await your command.
So life in the wilds must have been very lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
And did they speak back?
Don't be foolish. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. It was encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
Can't imagine Flemeth was pleased.
She was not. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
They made you stronger, didn't they?
They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality. I await your command.
I'd like to discuss something personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Nope. Wrong question.
I await your command. So, full of questions, are you?
Tell me, are you really Flemeth's daughter?
I assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. It is not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child.
Could she have stolen you as a child?
It seems likely, does it not? In an animal form, a babe could easily be spirited away and raised as Flemeth's own. I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another. And Flemeth has always treated me as her blood.
What if you have real family out there?
I would have nothing in common with them. nor any need for what they might provide. Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser.
Is there no place for nurturing and love?
Room for coddling and weakness? Why should such things be desirable? To indulge in love is to indulge in delusion. Surely a Grey Warden such as yourself does not believe otherwise.
I do in fact believe otherwise.
I see. Well, we all have our weaknesses, don't we?
I think it's about it for her for now.
Your command.
Let's discuss something personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Nope, that's it. So that's it for Morgan. Should be a chest around here. Or no, that's right, I don't get the chest just yet. Stan!
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected.
No, let's do it. What's that supposed to mean?
Callow? It is a word in your tongue. It means without feathers, as a new-hatched bird.
I know what that word means.
Then why ask?
I mean, why did you think I was callow?
You probably give most people that impression. You'll get over it, eventually.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
I was sent to be the eyes of the Antom. The Arishok asked, "What is the Blight?" By his curiosity, I am now here.
What's an Arishok?
The one who commands the Antom, the body of the Kunari.
Why does he care about the Blight?
Why do you?
I'm a Grey Warden, it's my job.
Exactly. You don't ask, nor do I. The Arishok sends me and I go.
Did you find the answer to this question?
A portion of it.
What was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
Why would the Kunari care about the Blight?
Why do you?
Ferelden is my home.
So if this Blight were in Orlais, it could consume the land with impunity. Don't strain yourself pondering that. I do not know why the Arishok sent us. He commands and I go.
Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
So what are you still doing here then?
I cannot go home.
Why not?
It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
What were you doing in that cage?
Does it matter? Very well. I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware.
Are you saying you put yourself in that cage?
I know that my failures were my own. I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside without incident, seeing nothing of the threat we were sent to observe. Until the night we camped by Lake Calenhad. They came from everywhere. The earth beneath our feet, the air above us. Our own shadows harbored the Darkspawn. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell.
Sounds like what happened to me at Ostagar.
I heard the stories of Ostagar. Your kith stood their ground when others fled. No one can do more than that. I don't know how long I lay on the battlefield among the dead, nor do I know how the farmers found me. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers, and my sword was gone from my hand.
What did you do?
I searched for it, and when that failed I asked my rescuers what had become of it.
Did the farmers know where it was?
They said they found me with nothing.
Did you believe them?
I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down.
You panicked over a lost blade?
That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresard. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath.
Couldn't you search for it?
If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now.
Where did you fight the Darkspawn?
Near Lake Calenhad.
Don't worry, we'll find it.
Perhaps those words are empty, but thank you all the same.
Go.
Why are we stopping?
We're working together. Think I should get to know you.
There are Darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
Are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
I've never seen a Canary before. Tell me about your people.
No.
I wasn't expecting that.
Get used to disappointment. People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Oh. You said you were in the army.
I am.
What made you decide to become a soldier?
Decide. I am a Sten of the Beresard. I did not choose to be who I am any more than you did.
Have you ever fought in a war?
I have always fought in war, human.
What do you mean by that?
My people have been at war since the moment we set foot in the Northern Islands.
So the Canary don't come from the islands.
We do now.
Where did you come from before?
Somewhere else.
Can you be more specific?
No. I was born in Seheron. Of the land we came from, I know nothing, not even its name. I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate.
True. Let's go.
As you wish.
Alright, you're done. Alistair, let's have a chat.
Something on your mind?
Do you want to talk about Duncan?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
He was like a father to you, I understand.
I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost him, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry.
There's no need to apologize.
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
What about the other Grey Wardens? Actually, no, even better. He had you.
I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him.
No, I understand completely.
Of course. I'd be dead then, wouldn't I? It's not like that would make him happier. I think he came from High Ever, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just...
My entire family was murdered just recently. That's right, sometimes I put things bluntly.
Oh, of course. How stupid of me to forget. Here I am going on and on about Duncan, and you... I am so sorry. Thank you. It was good to talk about this with a friend. It means a lot to me.
Maybe I'll go to High Ever with you when you go.
I'd like that. So would he, I think.
See, everybody really tends to hate on Alistair, but I think he is a good character. I mean, everybody thinks he's whiny, but he has a lot he has to deal with. And, yeah. I don't know. I don't think he's as childish as everybody tends to say he is throughout the game.
Oh, why, you little...
What?
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
It was just a warning. Could have taken a hand off.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Oh. Stop scaring my dog. I'd never feed you another human being.
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Sorry, growl at him. Good dog.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
It's the thought that counts. He means well.
The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
It was a gift. You can't just throw it away like that.
I just did. I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Aww. I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
I'm gonna watch him.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Nice. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? Alright, have fun then. Alright, that's it for the dog talk. We'll go back to Alistair. Next up, Leliana. I'm sorry if this is boring anybody who's watching, but like I said, I really enjoy these talks and learning more about the characters, and it gives you an opportunity to learn more about the people in the camp as well. Your races, the race that you choose, as well as the class that you choose, is going to have different identifiers that are going to have different effects as far as the